Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we're tracing the incredible journey of an idea that went from a digital curiosity to a political powerhouse. We're talking about cryptocurrency and how a revolution once dismissed as a fringe hobby for tech nerds has marched from the depths of the internet right into the marbled halls of Washington, D.C., becoming a high-stakes battleground for politicians, regulators, and a new class of powerful lobbyists. This is the story of how crypto became a formidable force in American policy. To understand how we got here, we have to go back to the beginning, to a movement that predates Bitcoin itself. In the late 80s and 90s, a group of privacy advocates and cryptographers, known as the cypherpunks, championed the use of strong encryption to protect individual freedom in our increasingly digital world. Their philosophy was deeply libertarian, dreaming of a world free from the control of governments and large corporations. This was the ideological soil from which Bitcoin would grow. Then, in 2008, amidst a staggering global financial crisis, a paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was published by the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto. The paper outlined a radical vision, a digital currency that could be exchanged directly between people, no banks required. On January 3, 2009, the Bitcoin network flickered to life. The very first block of transactions, the Genesis block, contained a hidden message, a headline from the Times of London, "Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks." It was a direct and defiant nod to the failings of the traditional financial system that Nakamoto sought to bypass. In its infancy, Bitcoin was the exclusive playground of a tiny community. The first ever transaction was simple. Nakamoto sent 10 Bitcoins to Hal Finney, a key figure in the cypherpunk movement, on January 12, 2009. For over a year, transactions were mostly just tests among this small group. The first time Bitcoin was used for a real-world purchase has become the stuff of legend. On May 22, 2010, an event we now celebrate as Bitcoin Pizza Day, a programmer named Laszlo Hanyecz paid 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas. At today's prices, that would be the most expensive pizza in human history, but at the time, it was a monumental step, proving Bitcoin could function as a medium of exchange. However, Bitcoin's early reputation wasn't all pizza and programming. It was also forged in the shadows of the dark web. Its anonymous nature made it the perfect currency for illicit online marketplaces, most notoriously the Silk Road, which launched in 2011. The site facilitated the sale of illegal goods, and while the FBI shut it down in 2013, its use of Bitcoin dragged the currency into the spotlight, associating it with crime in the public mind. Yet, paradoxically, the Silk Road saga also proved Bitcoin's viability on a large scale, and forced law enforcement and the public to take it seriously. For a few years, Bitcoin was the only game in town. But its open-source nature was an invitation for others to build, improve, and experiment. This led to what's often called a Cambrian explosion of new digital currencies, or altcoins. One of the first significant altcoins was Namecoin, which appeared in 2011. It used the core idea of a blockchain not for money, but to create a decentralized domain name system, aiming to make the internet more resistant to censorship. That same year, former Google engineer Charlie Lee created Litecoin. Often called the silver to Bitcoin's gold, Litecoin was designed to be a lighter, faster version, with quicker transaction times. These early altcoins weren't just clones. They were attempts to expand the possibilities of the technology. But the trickle of new coins became an absolute flood in 2017, with the rise of the initial coin offering, or ICO. The ICO model was a new way for blockchain projects to raise money, selling newly created digital tokens directly to the public, sort of like a high-tech, unregulated version of an IPO. The ICO boom of 2017 was a wild, transformative period. Thousands of projects raised billions of dollars in a frenzy of speculation. Of course, this frenzy was also rife with fraud and scams, which inevitably attracted the attention of regulators. In September 2017, China banned ICOs outright, and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, began cracking down on projects it considered to be illegal sales of unregistered securities. Despite the regulatory storm, the crypto ecosystem kept evolving. The late 2010s gave us two more game-changing innovations: decentralized finance, or DeFi, and non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. DeFi aims to rebuild traditional financial services, like lending and trading, on decentralized blockchains, cutting out the middleman, the banks. NFTs, on the other hand, are unique digital receipts that represent ownership of anything from digital art to virtual real estate. Both DeFi and NFTs attracted a whole new wave of users and investors, further broadening crypto's reach. This period also marked a critical turning point: mainstream and institutional adoption. What was once dismissed as a fringe asset was now being taken seriously by major financial players. In 2024, the approval of Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, or ETFs in the US, was a landmark event. It allowed ordinary investors to buy into Bitcoin through their regular brokerage accounts, just like a stock. When major corporations like Tesla and MicroStrategy started adding billions of dollars of Bitcoin to their balance sheets, it was a clear signal: crypto was becoming a legitimate part of the financial landscape. As the crypto market swelled in size and influence, it was only a matter of time before it became a major issue in Washington, D.C. The U.S. government's initial response was a mix of curiosity, caution, and concern. One of the first federal agencies to act was the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN. In 2013, it issued guidance clarifying that crypto exchanges were considered money services businesses and had to comply with anti-money laundering laws. The first ever congressional hearing on Bitcoin took place in November 2013. The tone was surprisingly measured. Officials from the Department of Justice acknowledged the legitimate uses of virtual currencies, while also voicing concerns about illicit activities. In these early years, regulation was fragmented. Different agencies tried to apply old rules to this new technology, often with confusing results. The SEC and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or CFTC, both began asserting their jurisdiction, creating uncertainty for the industry. As the stakes grew, the industry realized it needed a voice in Washington. The first crypto lobbying groups began to form. In 2018, leading companies like Coinbase founded the Blockchain Association, the first major lobbying group dedicated to representing the crypto industry in D.C. Their goal was to work with policymakers to create a clear regulatory framework that would allow the industry to grow. Since then, crypto's lobbying efforts have exploded. What started as a modest effort has transformed into a multi-million-dollar political machine. Crypto companies and investors have poured hundreds of millions into lobbying and campaign contributions, working to elect pro-crypto candidates and push back against those they see as hostile to their cause. Today, the debate over how to regulate cryptocurrency is one of the most contentious battles in Washington, and it has split policymakers into two distinct camps. On one side are the proponents, who argue for a lighter touch. They see crypto as a transformative technology that can create a more open, transparent, and inclusive financial system. They warn that heavy-handed regulations will stifle innovation and drive the industry to other countries. A key figure in this camp is SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce, who has famously proposed a safe harbor for new crypto projects. This would give them a grace period to develop their networks without immediately facing the full force of securities laws. Proponents also argue that crypto can provide financial services to the unbanked and act as a hedge against inflation, a digital version of gold. This innovation-focused argument has found a receptive audience among many Republicans. On the other side of the debate are the critics, who see a market filled with fraud, risk, and manipulation. They argue that crypto poses a significant threat to consumers, investors, and the stability of the entire financial system. The most prominent voice here is SEC Chair Gary Gensler. He has consistently argued that most cryptocurrencies are, in fact, securities, and should be regulated just like stocks and bonds. He points to the catastrophic collapses of firms like FTX as clear evidence that stronger investor protections are desperately needed. Senator Elizabeth Warren has also been a fierce critic, warning that crypto is a haven for criminals, terrorists, and nations trying to evade sanctions. She has called for much stricter anti-money laundering rules and has raised concerns about the massive energy consumption and environmental impact of crypto mining. These critics argue that the crypto industry is simply trying to write its own rules to avoid accountability, and that it must be held to the same standards as any other part of the financial world. This American debate isn't happening in a bubble. The actions of other major economies are shaping the global conversation and putting pressure on U.S. lawmakers. The European Union, for example, has taken a comprehensive approach. Its Markets in Crypto Assets regulation, known as MiCA, creates a single, harmonized legal framework for all 27 member states, providing clarity and consistency. The United Kingdom, on the other hand, is taking a more tailored approach, looking to bring crypto under its existing financial regulations in a way that is similar to what many in the US are proposing. And then there's China, which has taken the most extreme position. The Chinese government has banned all cryptocurrency trading and mining. This move is partly about maintaining tight control over its financial system, and partly about paving the way for its own central bank digital currency, or CBDC. This patchwork of global rules is creating a highly competitive environment. Countries are now vying to become the next global hub for crypto businesses and talent. The decisions made in Washington will not only shape the future of crypto in America, but will also have a profound impact on this global competition and the future of the international financial system. The battle over crypto in Washington is about so much more than just a new type of asset. It's about the future of money, the future of finance, and the future of the internet itself. The outcome will have deep, long-term implications for all of us. The rise of a powerful and well-funded crypto lobby has shown that this new industry can effectively shape policy and influence elections. This has sparked a broader debate about the influence of money in politics and the risk of regulatory capture, where an industry effectively controls the agency meant to regulate it. The debate is also forcing a conversation about a potential U.S. central bank digital currency. Some argue a digital dollar is necessary to maintain the global dominance of the U.S. dollar, while others raise serious concerns about what it would mean for privacy and government surveillance. Ultimately, the story of cryptocurrency is a classic tale of disruption. It's about a new technology, challenging old systems, and a society grappling with how to adapt to profound change. The final chapter of this saga has yet to be written, but one thing is certain: the world of finance will never be the same. The journey from a cypherpunk dream to a formidable force in Washington is a powerful testament to an idea's ability to change the world, and a reminder that the future is forged in the heated crucible of innovation, debate, and politics.